Greetings, sailors, and welcome back to World of Warships and me, failing generally. In fact, this video is going to be of me not playing particularly well, but then I've not been feeling great recently. You might have noticed the absence of videos, and that's why. And I've not also been playing that much in terms of warships, because I've been just getting frustrated really easily, and so it's a combination of not playing very well and getting frustrated, and then because I'm frustrated, I play even worse. So that's also partly why you haven't seen a lot of gameplay from me recently, and I just haven't been playing a lot recently. This game is not really an exception to that, but it's in one of the test ships and it's kind of entertaining even though it's not a great game. And so I've decided to go ahead and use it anyway. Although I can't really talk about the ship here very much, the Yoshino, which is essentially a tier 10 Azuma. I think it's the same firepower. I mean, this is all going by memory and it all could be absolutely dead wrong. And really the main kind of massive difference between the two seems to be that this has torps, although I expect the guns behave a little bit differently. They do seem to do very well. I mean, the Azuma's guns are great, but it's just a really fragile platform. And Yoshino might be a little more durable, I don't know, but I haven't really played it enough because I just haven't been playing that much. I've had like a couple of games at most in a lot of the test ships, and partly it's me, I've already gone over the reasons why, but also partly it's because wargaming tends to give us a lot of test ships at once, and it sort of limits how much time you can actually devote to each of them, even if you are not prioritizing and just trying to concentrate on the ones you might find interesting. Like the Indomitable, for instance, the latest version of the Indomitable I haven't played at all, and I think I haven't played the latest version of the Kreml at all. I have played the Pobeda a bit though. The Pobeda at the moment is, or Pobeda is, it's not going to come out like that. It really isn't. It's just far too silly. This, however, I mean, large tier 10 supercruiser battleship caliber guns. I don't think it's going to be anything too surprising to anybody, but the guns themselves do feel really quite good. They seem to have pretty decent accuracy, and even though it is actually quite a big ship, it doesn't maybe handle as badly as you'd think it would given its size. So in this game so far, we've taken this cap. The enemy team don't seem to have done much here. They've basically all pulled back to the other side, which is great because we've got this cap, except that it then means they're kind of concentrating elsewhere on the map, and so that might be tricky further down the line. It's also going to turn out that their carrier is actually either very, very good or very, very lucky, or a bit of both. And I mean, having said that, when I play it, it's pure luck, baby. I'm not going to make any pretensions to skill myself, but yeah, their carrier is going to turn out to be an increasing threat as the game goes along. And although hating on carriers is pretty popular at the moment, I mean, hell, it's always been popular, let's not lie. I think with the changes that they made to carriers, they now almost follow the profile that artillery does when the major changes happen to that in World of Tanks, where it used to be that you would just randomly get blatted for huge chunks, if not all of your health in one go, and then they essentially changed the damage output profile, if you like, such that they are less immediately threatening, but as the game goes on, as you start to wear down in terms of hit points, they actually are perhaps more threatening than they were before. And with World of Tanks, that's more in terms of the increased ability of most artillery to do splash damage, and if you're running around in a low health tank trying to hide behind objects and you just get splashed bit by bit to death anyway, then that's obviously a problem. And of course in warships terms, it's more about the variety of attack planes that they can now throw at you, and the plane regeneration and all the rest of it, and the changed AA mechanics, and so you're not able to just create no-fly zones like you could before. Even if you shred a bunch of planes, they might still get at least one hit off on you. And over time, those hits will add up. So there's not that immediate danger that there was from carriers once upon a time, but they can be a lot more dangerous over time. Although having said that, you know, they were still dangerous over time previously, just as artillery was potentially dangerous over time previously. It's just the, as I say, the kind of the curve has changed, the output profile has changed. This was my very first game of this, by the way, so I'm experimenting a bit with, you know, different ammo against different targets, seeing what works. I suspected at that range, with that relative angling, I probably wouldn't have a lot of luck with the Izumo. We'll come back to the Izumo. We will see that Izumo a lot closer up later on, and there will be some AP ammo being fired at it. But yeah, from my experience playing other ships, the Izumo's side armor is actually not half bad, and it doesn't necessarily have that extremely vulnerable spot that the Yamato has. You can still definitely Citadel Izumo, however, it's not like it's you know, Conqueror levels or anything. It's just it's got pretty decent armor for its tier and for its type of ship. The team thing is a bit wonky in this replay. For some reason, by the way. It's just for some reason my own team rather than the enemy team. The other enemy team's one is displaying correctly, and for my own team it's doing that. It's very weird. So up to this point I haven't done a huge amount. There was poor old Finndamage at the beginning in his Dmitry Donskoy showing broadside and getting smacked pretty hard. And having played the Dmitry Donskoy, yeah, you can't really take that kind of risk. It will get you killed pretty quickly, as it did there. But you know, you can say exactly the same thing about the Azuma, and probably this as well. If you show too much broadside against you know, battleship caliber guns, essentially, it's going to be nasty. And yeah, apart from that, you know, I've done a little bit of damage otherwise, and that's been about it so far. And I think I just spent a bit too much time faffing in this one. And maybe, you know, I'm trying to take the middle cap back at this point, but we are badly behind on points, and I think the Cyclone is really not helping us, all things considered. And so I would like to get back some range at this point. I don't particularly want to be fighting up close against Tier 10 cruisers and Tier 10 battleships, and certainly not sitting stationary and letting the carrier have an easy time of it. Although you'll see the AA get a proper, thorough workout in this game. You'll get some idea of what it's capable of. And I don't think I was particularly AA spec'd either. I might have had one of the AA pieces of equipment mounted, but this is like a 13 or 14 point... this is my Ibuki captain in this. It's not a 19 point captain. I don't know why I didn't just use one of the test 19 point captains. I think I was just thinking, oh yeah, I'll just get the daily on this. It'll be fine. 14 points is enough, and you know, it kind of is. You can kind of get away with it. But at this stage, yeah, we're getting closed in on from both sides, which is not good. But I might get a chance to use the torpedoes at least. Now, these torpedoes are pretty silly. They're basically the Shima's 20-kilometer torps. The, you know, 2.5 kilometer detection, 62 knot, 20,000 damage torps. If you get hit by one of these things at long range, then it's sort of your own fault, unless somebody gets you completely unexpectedly. But at this kind of ranges, yeah, it's a lot easier to hit things, but it's also a lot riskier overall. Now here's those AP shells coming into play, and I really do need to kill this Izumo because in getting out the torpedoes, in order to potentially save myself, I've run myself aground slightly, so I really need this Izumo to die. I did, however, think that, yeah, this is it, you know, this is an awkward, ungainly ship. This was probably a mistake trying to put out the torps, although I have at least not been completely annihilated. Now I'm having to pull round broadside to the Alsace, even though I did kill the Izumo, and they've avoided one lot of torps, but you can see there, I mean, the overall arcs for the torps are not bad, but trying to get all of your torps out against a single target does require showing quite a lot of broadside. But fortunately for me, this Alsace was firing HE shells. Don't know why. And that basically has saved me. There is now a Minotaur around as well, but here come those 12-inch AP shells. It's like 12.2 or 12.4 inches or something. It's not quite 12 inches, but 310 millimeters. It's 12 point something. And there goes the Minotaur as well. So this was the bit that really has gotten this game on YouTube, because, you know, it got a bit silly. I did also, I think, partly get saved by the fact that the 2 surviving battleships of my team have now pulled into the middle, but they're getting thoroughly hammered, and they're not going to last, sadly, and I've meanwhile had my engine knocked out, which has happened once or twice with this ship. This might be a ship where you would want torpedo acceleration and last stand, which is an unusual thing to maybe consider having on a cruiser captain, but yeah, you'll see it actually happen again a little later in this replay, where my engine gets knocked out again, and in a cruiser, you know, that can be quite fatal if you get stuck broadside. And it's not like it's super stealthy. I think it's 11.9 with best concealment on this. It's something around that. So it's not bad for its size. It's not bad at all, but it's not super stealthy by any means, especially not when there's planes buzzing around the place. So I thought maybe I might get a chance to make a torque drop on the Salem, but we've got planes coming back in. The Missouri is looking not particularly healthy, and there's an enemy Montana still in play, quite apart from the carrier that now has 3 kills. It's going to turn out that Montana is full hit points, like literally full hit points, and they may have taken up like a tiny bit of damage and then healed back up, but I don't know if you actually can get back up to full health from doing that. I think it depletes your available health a bit regardless. So yeah, they seem to have not done a whole lot in this game, but just now the fact that they are full health means that, yeah, this isn't really a winning proposition at this point, although I didn't quite know it myself as I was playing at this stage. But just the fact that I'm alone now with I mean, the Salem I thought I might be able to kill, but the carrier, yeah, the carrier is almost certainly going to get me, and there's not a huge amount I can do about it, because I've only got 1 defensive left, and you just can't create those no-fly zones anymore. You just can't. You know, they're starting to run down a bit on their attack planes, but I don't have a huge amount of health left. So I'm going to blow my defensive, and it does kill quite a few of those planes, but I think these might be armor-piercing bombs. I can't remember offhand what the Hikuru has access to. Yeah, that was nasty. That hurt, and there goes my engine again. So, yeah, and there we go. There's the Montana. Basically full health. Yeah, not going to win this one, sadly. Probably didn't deserve to, but it's ended up being quite a close game, just at least in terms of ships. Certainly not in terms of points at this stage. This is one of those games where the Cyclone, I think, really worked against us as a team. And although we did dash in to grab the middle, that moment of me, you know, trying to get past the Worcester, and then the Worcester blocking me, and then we both reversed, and then we both, you know, realised we were going to have to turn out the... Because it was always my intention to just try and turn out again, and then for some reason the Worcester was trying to go in, nose in round the corner. I don't quite know why, but it was like one of those times when you're trying to cross somebody, you know, or you're walking towards somebody on the pavement, and you both step to the same side, and you step back to the other side, and, you know... We're trying to fit through a doorway. Anyway, you know, that's obviously, like, if you're British and that happens, you then have to, you know, go and commit Sudoku. There needs to be some appropriately Britishism for that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm definitely waffling at this stage, but we're just about done with this game, so yeah, there's not much else except that the carrier's going to kill me. And that's about that. It's not that far off 1,000 meters turning radius on this, so it doesn't feel especially unwieldy, but it's not super nimble. If somebody wants to drop you, then they're going to be able to drop you, unless they miss time or you're able to out accelerate them or whatever. So I don't have the score screen for that, but Finndamage himself did post this on his Twitter and tagged me, so you can see what my XP was at least and how many plane kills I got. And overall, I think the damage wasn't terrible, but yeah, it wasn't a great game, really. And at least I'm, able to say I wasn't the only one that maybe wasn't playing all that well in that game, but that's just been most of my games recently, and everything else really as well. Probably this video too. This is probably not one of my better videos, but it's a video. I made a video. I did a thing, and that's better than not doing a thing. Well, at least in this context anyway. So hopefully you enjoyed this, even though it was incredibly derpy. And if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.